Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So we're trying something a little different. We haven't used these microphones in a while, but the last time we did one of these sit-downs, my voice doesn't carry very well. I have a very low tone to my voice, so we wanted to try the microphones and see if it's better. In our test sequence, they were better, so we'll see how that works out.
Speak into the mic.
That's right. Hopefully you can hear us better.
And hopefully I'm not yelling.
So what brings us here today?
What brings us here today is God woke us up this morning, and here we are.
Well, that's good.
Okay. I tried. Anyway, I thought that we would get together and have a little talk about Otter Creek.
Oh, we haven't done that in some time.
No, we haven't. And I haven't been following much in Otter Creek, but I happened to, somebody mentioned something to me that I found quite interesting. So I thought we would talk about that. And I know it's been kind of a long time coming because Zim actually had talked about doing this even while I was mayor. He wanted to get this done. So I see that there are some interesting things on the ballot for Otter Creek. And I thought, you know, we haven't talked about them in a while. So
Yeah, we just thought we'd give you all a little update.
I know, I don't think anybody even records the meetings anymore because I haven't seen any of those popping up in my feed. So I know that they like that a lot, that they're not recorded.
I'm going to readjust the camera just a little bit. We have a refraction there on the TV.
Oh yeah, that light likes to shine into the TV. Whoa. Is anybody a palm reader?
Sorry about that.
You could be reading Brett's palm there.
That looks better.
All right. So anyway, there's going to be elections all over, as I'm sure all of you know. You see all the signs everywhere cluttering up all the streets, all the candidates, and if you're smart, you're doing some research on who is running for what so you can be an informed voter and get out there and vote on election day, because it is important, especially when you're talking about your local stuff. I know even your presidential elections are very important, but your local stuff is what affects you the most.
It does.
So you really need to be informed of what's going on locally and make sure you're voting for the right people on that level.
Yeah, because we're doing that here in Tennessee as well. The governor's race seems to be pretty contentious. There's three main characters. We won't get into that because most of you guys don't care,
Right.
really, to be honest.
And if you go on, there's Facebook groups and everybody has their opinions. As you know, everybody has opinions about everything under the sun. So finding out your facts is not always easy when it comes to the elections and the candidates, because not everybody does meet the candidate stuff, and not everybody puts out Facebook pages, hey, this is who I am, get to know me. So it's very hit or miss. And most of the time when you do see something advertised to meet the different people, it's already passed. So they don't even do a good job of advertising any of it.
They don't.
So to get out there and get your facts and meet people is really a hard thing to do. But I feel like it's super important. I almost think that maybe the different supervisor of elections offices, or maybe not the offices, but somebody should have some kind of mandatory thing where they do little video interviews of all the different people running. I think that should be part of the process.
Yep.
So that people at least have something to look at with some basic questions to get to know people.
And don't just go off of what you think you may know about the candidate, because I've already changed my mind once for sure, and I'm leaning towards a second change based on information that I am digging up when I research. And the way the candidates are reacting to interviews, all of these are influencing my decision, and now I'm going, scratching my head going, wow, you know.
Yeah, so it's big decisions, and it's hard because sometimes even your basic questions are not going to tell you everything you need to know about somebody. And sometimes you don't like any of the candidates, to be honest. So you're kind of voting for the lesser of evils. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but that's the way I've felt at different times in the past, because some people will be like, I don't like anybody running, so I'm just not going to vote. Well, that's not a good plan either.
That's a failed
So
plan.
you need to figure out the lesser of evils and put your vote out there.
And don't just run and vote for the president like everybody does. The chance of your vote influencing a presidential election is almost slim and none, because it's all electoral college.
I mean, it's still important to do.
Yes.
But some people only vote for the president and they don't bother with the local elections, which,
The local stuff really affects your life more on a personal level. Like a tax rate in the county, that affects you more than anything the president can do, because the president's really limited on what he can do that would affect you personally. He's more on a larger, grand scale, and there's not a whole lot you can do to influence that.
and I don't know if anybody's noticed lately, but there's a lot of things that really need to be handled and addressed that are going on. I mean, for crying out loud, our lettuce is not even safe.
You can't eat the lettuce.
So, like, the food quality and what they allow and all that, that's a huge thing for me, because I feel like we're being poisoned every which way, and I don't feel like the government is looking out for us the way they should be. And then you compare our quality standards to what other countries allow, and you're like, sheesh, they don't even care. I know during the World Cup, everybody's been posting videos of all the people who are like, wow, this is so amazing. You guys have this, you have that. And that's true. We do have so much stuff.
Free refills.
But I look at their countries and think, man, their governments are really looking out for them. They care about the quality of the foods they're eating, and they limit the stuff. Like when I was in Germany, if you were getting a
dyes.
soda, you just got one. There's no free refills, and maybe that's why they're healthier and slimmer over there. I don't know, but there's different viewpoints to look at it. So
There should be a happy balance of the two.
anyway, me on a tangent.
That's okay.
Those things are pretty important, and I think we need to look at that more. So also, even like here in Tennessee, I'm disturbed by the food tax. And I know we keep bringing that up, but I mean, food prices are high enough.
Yes.
Now you're taxing the food as well. In Florida, there was no food tax. I just thought that it was like that everywhere, but it's not. And I think that really needs to be addressed in, what did you say, there's like 8 states that still tax food?
There's 8 or 9, depending on how you Google it. But
I feel
think
like
there's
that
9
should be
states.
stopped in all the states that are still taxing.
Now, this is interesting, because me and my cousin differ on this. She's in Georgia, and sometimes she says, well, you have to have an income tax if you want to pay for those things. You're in Tennessee, you have no income tax. They have to raise the money somewhere.
Florida did it.
Well, let's talk about that. There are like 8 states with no income tax, and they're finding other ways to not tax food. There's only one other state that also taxes food that does not have an income tax. Now I forget which one it is. But anyway, so I think Tennessee could find
I mean, they always find something else to tax.
I've read so much stuff, it's just running through my head. But
quite frankly, I think that instead of finding different things to tax, they need to learn how to budget their money and stop throwing money at stupid things.
yes,
That's my opinion.
yes.
So there's plenty of money that they have. They're just throwing it at all the wrong stuff, and we don't really get a say-so on that.
And before you guys come at me, well, you moved to Tennessee, and that's all you talk about, because there's going to be those people still like Tennessee.
There's pros and cons of every
Yes.
single state. I mean,
Yes.
there's great things about Florida. I loved growing up there. I think a lot of people can talk about the differences of how things were growing up there versus what tourism has done to the state and different things like that, as well as the heat factor there. But, there's a lot of people that live in a lot of states that love different things about it, but the amount of tourism and people that come in kind of put a damper on the loveliness of that place.
I think Florida's crowded.
So
That's what I don't
there's
like.
so many things growing up in Florida that are so different now to when I grew up. I loved it there outside of the heat.
Yeah.
There were some great things, the beaches and all that, but I'm not going to get into all that because I can still visit there whenever I want.
Yeah, visiting is the best place. Best
So,
thing.
but I know we've gone off on a bunch of different ways. So you want to talk about Otter Creek some?
Yeah, sure. So,
How much you miss it?
I don't miss it at all, really, to be honest with you. I still kind of miss the campground, and once in a while I get a little information, like from Bobby there. He'll send me a text, go, look at these crepe myrtles, how well they're doing. It's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And
There's aspects of that I do miss as well, but it's not really the town.
Yep.
It's the campground, and I guess getting to see what you built flourish.
Yeah.
Is that a good?
Yeah, I like to see what, how well the campground is doing, and I really like, even more than that, I like to see what the trees are doing, because we put in a bunch of trees actually.
It was
and
a
took
lot
out
of
a bunch
work.
trees. Yes,
So
it was a
the
lot of
blood,
work.
sweat, and I had some tears.
Yeah. What are those? The word is escaping me.
Podocarpus?
The podocarpus, but the other, they've gotten
Rubellini?
tall too.
Crepe
The
myrtle?
rubellini died. The crepe myrtles are doing great. The freeze killed the rubellini.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That was kind of a toss-up of
Yeah.
whether we should put it in there or not, but
I used to put a bag over it and run a heater in there during the stupid 20
it's
degrees.
hard in Florida when you do get
Yeah.
that snap freeze and then you got to cover everything, run heaters, and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah, so it didn't make
a
it.
lot. So,
But I'm thinking of the bamboo.
oh,
We put bamboo all around the house and along the road line, in the tree line, and then along the creek behind the barn, and they're doing great. All of them are doing great. I think it's crazy. Some of them are like 60 feet tall. I'm like, wow, look what this thing is doing.
well, I know that one, the bamboo that we put in between the properties, I called it the creeper fence because when the neighbor would go up his driveway, sometimes he liked to just park there and creep.
Oh, yeah.
So when you were sitting out on the back porch, I was like, especially during wintertime when the leaves were not there, you had people sitting in their driveway creeping on you. So anybody want to guess who that was? I'm sure you
I
know.
know.
But yeah, that bamboo was put there for that specific reason. So I think that made a good fence line.
Yeah, and that particular bamboo is taking off. Like, it's,
I knew it would. I knew it
Huge.
would because it's just in that thriving spot.
it's in a little
So-
sinkhole that collects water.
You miss watching all the stuff you work so hard for grow. But anywho, you miss those town hall meetings?
I miss the ones where you were mayor. I don't miss the ones previous to you because of what they were trying to do to us. And then I don't really miss the ones after you, not that we were there.
I don't miss the
But
chaos
the
of the
direction-
meetings.
The direction the town is going is kind of, I don't know.
I miss the hope and thought of what could be of the town.
I thought the people would stand up
it
and
was exciting to get that opportunity to think that we could
make a
make
difference.
something good of that town. And by good, I mean of people working together towards a common goal to live in a thriving yet peaceful community.
But
So-
most of the townspeople didn't want that. They didn't
So
want to get
that was a
involved.
bummer. That was a bummer. Yeah, if you don't get involved, then, you just let whoever run things, which is why
It's important
this
to vote.
election is going to be so important for the people that live in Otter Creek. Now, the election day is August 18th. There is early voting, and now I'm not really certain. I feel like this should be part of the early voting, and it probably is, but I really don't know, so I can't speak 100% to that fact. But I do believe the early voting there in Levy County starts August 6th, But you can look all that
Soon.
stuff up online at
It's right around the
Levy
corner.
County Supervisor of Elections if you want to know the definites of all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to be saying these are definites. It's definite that August 18th is when the voting day is. I'm not sure about the other date for early voting, and I'm not sure that you can early vote the Otter Creek ballot, but logically, I would think so.
And we're really not here to talk about or advocate for any of the candidates. We're talking.
I don't even know
who they
who
are.
any of the candidates are. And I don't think that is really on this.
Oh.
This is just going to be for 4 different things involving the town. It's
Okay.
not going to be for anybody running for anything because, as you know, their elections run a different time of year.
Yeah, I thought they were March, April.
They're just throwing these 4 topics into these primary elections going on. So that way it wouldn't, I guess, cost any more monies or whatever to do
Well,
this. I don't even know,
Let's go down them and talk about the pros and
All the
cons and how it might
specifics.
affect the townspeople.
but I will look them up on my sample ballot, which you can all do, again, at the Levy County Supervisor of Elections website. They do have sample ballots if you want to look at it for yourself. So as you can see on their ballot, let's see,
Let's show you
I
a
might
little
have-
bit what
I
it
might
looks
have-
like.
how'd you roll? Oh,
I just kind of wanted to show what a sample ballot looks like. So you can pull it up on your phone and it says it right there, sample ballot. And then you can just scroll up and you'll see the questions on there.
and you can do that for any city, town, anything if you want to look ahead, and that's where you can see who's running so that you can start informing yourself and figuring out who you want to vote for.
Yeah.
So I do think everybody should go onto the website, for their town and get familiar with their ballot.
Be an informed voter
Yes,
and vote policy, not personality.
because this is the time where senators and governors and school board stuff is going on, different,
County seats.
yep,
here in
commissioners.
Tennessee, Commissioners.
In Levy,
Oh,
they got
sheriff.
some agriculture commissioners going
Sheriff is
on.
another big contested one here. So
Right
he'll be the
here.
next sheriff.
You'll have judges, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Otter Creek, what they're doing is they're looking to amend their charter. Thank you. Sometimes these things slip my mind.
The simplest words, and you.
Yeah, because your mind's
Brain
going to so
fog,
many different
right.
directions. So they are looking to amend their charter with, I believe it's 4 different things. So the first one says, shall the town of Otter Creek charter be amended to designate seats for council members numbered 1 through 5 beginning in 2027?
Okay.
If the charter is later amended to elect a mayor, council seats would be numbered 1 to 4 with a separate seat for the mayor, and there is no financial impact for doing this. Now, we talked about this for sure, and this actually is what should have been done beforehand, and I'm surprised when they rewrote some of their stuff, when they were changing the election dates and all that stuff to save money, and their whole procedure and the dates, because originally they were voting, I don't remember if it was in September or October, and then they were switching it over to the beginning of the year to save money to go along with all the towns, because the supervisor of elections was having to do so much different stuff because all these places were having their elections different time of the year, and it was a little too much. So she got with the town and they rewrote stuff, and that's when Russell was mayor and Mary was clerk and Mr. Warm was the attorney.
Gosh, I haven't heard that name in a while.
So that's when all that was happening. And when they rewrote that stuff, I don't know if anybody read what they put into play, and it's sad to think they had an attorney who wrote that stuff because there was errors in it. And they should have designated the seats at that point, but because they did not, that was why I ended up having to appoint the seat where I appointed Russell to that seat, because if they had numbered the seats at that time, there would have never been a problem and I would have never had to address that.
So the question was, because there's 5 seats, and some of them on off years and even number years change. So it's 3
Right.
1 year, 2 the next year, and so on. So you had to assign somebody the 1 year seat, and nobody wanted it. They wanted
Yeah,
the 2 year seat.
of course.
So for reasons, and you can go back and watch those videos, you assigned Russell a 1 year seat. Well, he wasn't happy about it, and then he ended up eventually walking off the board.
Which was so
Which is
ridiculous,
what
because
they do when they don't get their way.
why would it matter? Like,
It doesn't really.
if you're
yeah.
good and you're doing the things you should do, you should never worry about getting reelected
Right.
or being put into an election. Like, what's the big deal?
Okay, you have
So
to run
you must
again
be
in a year.
worried about something
Right,
that you wouldn't be reelected, which
right.
also, I'll get to that later on the next, I'll tie that in on another point.
But we think this is good. I think this is something
Numbering
they
the
should vote
seats is
for.
absolutely a good thing. It clears up any confusion. The only time that I think it could be bad that the seats are numbered has to do with having a clerk that is playing games and being shady.
Right.
If your clerk is doing the right things and not playing around, it's great.
Pretty straightforward.
But if
Yep.
they're being shady, numbering the seats could give them the opportunity, when people are signing up to run for the elections, they could say, maybe they like this one person. Because when you sign up, you have to pick a seat. So let's
That seat has
say,
an assigned term to it, 1 or 2.
let's say there's 3 seats up that year and 5 different people are running, but they all pick seat 1. That's kind of going to be a problem, but the clerk is not supposed to say to somebody putting in the thing, hey,
Right.
everybody's running for seat 1. Why don't you pick 2 or 3? You'll get it for sure. There's nobody opposing. You're the only one going for it. So if they wanted to be shady, they could give you a heads up like that, but they're not supposed to.
They have, though, in past. That's exactly
So in
what they
different
do.
towns, that has happened.
They play that
where
game.
they will mess around like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
This makes it harder to play those games.
right.
That's all.
So, and if everybody did end up running for the one seat and nobody ran for the other seats, then I guess you would have vacant seats that you would just fill the same
With a
way they've
letter of
always
interest.
filled, with the letter of interest. They'd be in there for that term, and then that seat would be up, and it would work out like that.
Right.
But I do think numbering them overall will avoid a lot of issues.
That's what most places do, and that's what most bigger places do.
Right.
So that's looking to the future.
So I do believe personally that that is a good one to have on there.
That's a good one. I'll give them that.
Now, the second amendment reads, shall the town of Otter Creek charter be amended so as to require the election of a mayor? If the charter is amended to elect a mayor, the council seats would then be numbered 1 to 4 with a separate seat for the mayor. The mayor will be the presiding officer at the council meetings, remain a voting member, and otherwise retain the duties set forth in the charter. If the charter is amended to allow for 4-year terms, the mayor would serve a 4-year term beginning in 2027, no financial impact. Now, if you were listening, I just said some other keywords that are going to come into later amendments, but right now, let's talk about this one. Should they amend the charter to pick the mayor instead of what they've been doing, where the board at the first meeting
Picks the mayor.
picks the mayor out of the 5 people that are sitting there? The mayor and the vice mayor, they usually do a vote. They've always done it that way. Now they're looking to amend it where the people of the
people
town
pick
get to
the
choose
mayor.
who the mayor is.
I like that better. I like that better.
I think that's great. I think the town should have always been the ones voting for who the mayor would be out of those ones. I think that is a great move, because that's going to cause a lot. Well, obviously, it's going to put who the people want into the place versus who the board wants.
And you can play with those board seats to get people that are favorable to you.
And again, if everything
And
is
they do play those
transparent
games.
and on board, no problems. But that's not the world we live in, so I think this is another good move.
Yeah, I do too. Yep.
I wonder why they don't have it to choose the vice mayor as well, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. I mean, the mayor is really the most important. The vice mayor is only going to be able to do something if the mayor steps down
Yeah.
or if the mayor is incapacitated.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely another good one. So let's see what else they got. Amendment 3. Shall the town of Otter Creek charter be amended to allow 4-year terms for council members beginning in 2027? If adopted, seats 1, 3, and 5 would begin in 2027 for 4-year terms. Seats 2 and 4 would be elected in 2027 for 2-year terms. And then in 2029, seats 2 and 4 would be elected to the 4-year terms to align the cycle.
Right.
If the charter is amended to elect the mayor, like we just talked about, the mayor and seats 1 and 3 would be elected in 27 for the 4-year terms, and then 2 and 4 would be in 2027 for 2 years, then in 29 for 4 years, align the cycle, and then not require re-election until 2031. Seats 2 and 4 would be up for election in 29 for a term ending in 2033. The financial impact statement is that elections would occur every 2 years instead of annually, saving the town of Otter Creek election costs. Now, I'm not 100% because I have let a lot of that information go bye-bye. And I know things changed after I was gone to where they were talking about different election costs with bringing in the machines and yada yada. So I'm not sure exactly what the annual price tag was. I would guesstimate it to be somewhere around $2,000, give or take, not positive. So they're basically talking about saving that every other year. Now, there's some good and bad with this. So let's talk about the good first. Obviously, the good is saving money.
Saving money, and if you get the right people in there, that's good.
Did you hear those keywords? If
Yeah.
you get the right people in there, that is great for 4 years. But what about if you get the wrong people in there? What if you voted for someone and found out that they're awful? Now they're your mayor for 4 years. They're on the board for 4 years. What are your repercussions then? We've seen you're stuck with them. You are stuck with a bad person in that spot for 4 years instead of 2.
But because you don't know whether it's going to be a good person or not a good person, you don't know until they get in there. Now, we kind of know who the good and bad people are, but
Right. So Zim has been an advocate and been talking about this since I was mayor. He wanted to do this. So obviously he's the mayor now. He would like to be the mayor at the next election and be in there for a good solid 4 years.
now he has a business in the town, where before he didn't.
So there's a lot of different things. So, I mean, I can understand why you personally would want to be in there for 4 years. And again, if you have good people, it's great. And you do save some money, but if it's not a good person, that's a big problem. And if you don't have people in the town stepping up to the plate to make sure the good people are in there, more problems. So, y'all are in a conundrum. And I urge everybody to think about these different things.
Get out there and vote.
So it's great to save money, but ask yourself, what does your town do with this money? And if you're so worried about saving money, why would you not renew your CDs at the bank where you are getting the best interest rates constantly letting them fall to the wayside where they just automatically renew at the lowest rate where you're making no money.
A lot of people don't know that.
So
if you go get a CD and it's paying 5%, and you don't renew it at the end of the whatever it is, 3 month, 6 month cycle, you do still have the CD, but the interest rate.
But it's not really
drop.
earning anything.
It's dropping to almost zero.
And most banks aren't going to say, hey,
Right,
your stuff is going to be ending. You want to renew for a better rate? They just let it fall to the wayside. So if you don't put those in the calendar and you're not on top of those things, boom. So I know that the town often lets those slip. So they're wasting money, but they're worried about money on elections. But yet we're wasting money over here.
Right.
We're throwing money at websites and computers and all these things, just big money's going everywhere. And I don't know if anybody's looked lately, but I don't really see anything fantastic going on with websites.
The website looks like it's just died.
Anything that has been uploaded is all out of order, with
out of order, even
chaos.
in 1 year.
And all these different things. So
It's a mess.
in my opinion, they've wasted some more money and don't have a good finished product.
They still don't have any of it codified.
So there's no Facebook page, there's no open transparency.
Nope.
Still don't see any meetings up. Not that they're required to, but it just makes sense if you want the people in your town viewing things and you have nothing to hide, why you wouldn't be doing those things.
I'm
So,
seeing some red flags here of shadiness.
and it's like when I got in there, how much money was being wasted on multiple landlines,
and phones that weren't being
internet
used.
issues. Like there was just a lot of money being wasted on ridiculousness. They had that truck in there that they were paying the insurances on, then paying Richard to drive it around, to make sure the battery was still working, to drive in a parade every year.
That's
like
all it did.
there was a lot of money being wasted. I'm sure there's still a lot of money being wasted.
So you finally got that truck sold and traded it for some fire insurance or something like that, wasn't it?
Well, the monies went towards the fire money that we had to pay.
Right.
So it went towards something. And then you're not still spending money on the continued maintenance of a vehicle you're not using.
And Chiefland now has a fire truck they can use.
So
So it was a win for them and a win for the town of Otter
So
Creek.
if we're so worried about the cost of elections, and that was just my point, then why are we throwing money out the window on stupid things? And it's just like what I was talking about with other towns and the taxing. They waste money on different things and then they're worried about this. And then they want to wrap this up of sometimes we're looking out for the citizens, so we're going to cut this out, but don't look at what's going on over here.
Right.
So you're not getting full transparency. So my biggest issue with that point is if everybody's good, it's good. But if you get a bad person, it's not. So if the money for the elections is not that high and you're continuously wasting money on stupid things, that thought process does not align with me. And I don't think anybody in office should be worried about being reelected if they're doing the right things and are good. So, you know, they might be wrapping it up on saving money as elections. That's their little gift and they're pretty wrapping. But what it really boils down to me is that they're worried about being reelected because they're probably not doing a good job. So that's my take on the situation.
Yeah.
For that one, I don't know if you have a different viewpoint or anything else to add to that.
No, that about sums it up for me.
So, let's
another
see.
one?
There's still another one. Let's go back to number, I think there was. Maybe it was just 3. I thought there might have been 4, but yep,
Okay.
It's just 3 that I see on the little ballot.
So it sounds like term limits, who votes for mayor, board versus people,
Designated
and
seats.
designated seats. And I think I'm for all of those. Less, I'm definitely for assigned seats.
In a town
A
of,
4-year term.
I'm not for the 4-year term. I'll just put it out there
yeah,
like that.
I
I'm
don't
not.
know where I'm.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't even know, and some people are like, well, of course you're not. You're not on the board. I don't even know that being on the board, if I'd be for it or against it. I mean, of course I'd be there making sure all this money it wasn't being wasted. So, I don't know. But,
Do you want to do it for 2 years or 4 years?
I mean,
I don't know.
it's a real pickle. I mean, you would like to think that you'd go one way or the other, but it's hard to say 100%. But I personally, I'm just telling the people in Otter Creek who live there now, and this is who it's important for, to really think about the different things, weigh it out for yourself. You know who the players are, you know who the choices are, and if you think that there's not as good as choices as you would like, I urge you to get involved and run for something and be a voice for your town. But you really need to think about these things and how you're voting and how it affects your future. They are charter amendments, so these things are not just going to be like, oh, if this doesn't work out, we'll just go back to the other way. Sure, you have that possibility, but does that ever happen that way? Not likely.
No.
So whatever gets changed is most likely going to be staying in
Permanent,
place.
yeah.
So just really think about these things, weigh out all the pros and cons of it all before you vote, and please do go vote. And that's just my biggest thing is it doesn't affect me, it affects you.
Yeah.
So, and with all elections and things going on in your town, be informed, not just for Otter Creek, but all over the nation. These things could affect you, depending what's going on.
I still am an advocate. I still think the town should unincorporate. It would lower the taxes for sure, because you wouldn't have a city tax anymore. And the water would just fall on the county. They would have to have a fix for it. And I think it would fall on Bronson. I think the person that maintains it would still be the same person because he also works for Bronson. I don't think there'd be any changes there. And you wouldn't have a town fighting over who's sitting in a seat. You wouldn't have that because there wouldn't be a seat. The only thing with unincorporating that some people might not like, and I don't understand why, because mainly the two businesses. I can't speak to the Woodworks or to the Herschel's store, but for the two campground owners, they probably want it to stay incorporated because then they have more say over their campground as far as getting some permits. However, if the town went away, they think they would have less control over their campground, but having owned one of those campgrounds, I don't understand how, because the people that inspect the campground now is the county. And it doesn't matter that you're in a town. The town is just for permitting purposes.
You know, the only thing really difference between the county and Otter Creek is the county is not allowing campgrounds to be
Correct.
put in. Where Otter Creek being incorporated can override
Ride
that
that.
and let campgrounds be in their town. So if they unincorporated, no future campgrounds could be introduced.
Correct.
But I mean, for
But the-
such a small town, you already have 2 campgrounds. Are you going to be putting in any more? I don't know.
And the campgrounds are already, they're grandfathered in, so they can't shut them down.
Right.
The people, they wouldn't be able to expand them if people were looking to expand their campground, that I don't know. But the health department is the one that inspects the campgrounds, which is that's actually at the state level. So the state inspects campgrounds, it's the health department. The health department is part of the state-ran agency, they're the ones that inspect. And really what they're inspecting is groundwater sewage. So broken lines or, broken septic systems, that kind of thing. That's all they're inspecting, really. just making sure RVs are actually hooked up and their hoses are not broken and sewage is running everywhere. So the inspections are really focused on the sewage and water, water runoff, that kind of thing. But you're grandfathered in, so if the town unincorporated, you just probably wouldn't be able to expand your campground because the county's just not going to approve it.
Do you think Lynette or John will be running for the board next season? Imagine if they're on the board for 4 years if they got elected.
Hey, it's a possibility. You remember how it's so hard. The town doesn't want to get involved. It's hard to find 5 people.
Watch
that wanna
out,
run.
watch out. Alls I'm saying, Otter Creek, is
It's important to go vote.
it's important to vote. And if you want to be incorporated, take control of your town, make it good, have a peaceful town, make it beautiful. You have the opportunity to have that. So if you're going to stay incorporated, make it awesome. You can do that.
I mean, you're paying more for water there and you can't drink it than we're paying for water here, and it's spring water. The water here is sweet and it's perfect. It's
Well,
spring
hopefully
water.
they're moving on with that pipeline, but
And we're
from what I
paying-
remember, they still had a long way to go.
Yeah, we pay $16 a month for spring water right to the house. It is a city water.
I mean, I pray they get it because I do believe that everybody deserves to have good, clean
Sure. And
water.
I think they're paying $22.50, $24 for their water. So
Yeah, for crappy water.
for crappy water you can't even drink. And they
So-
still haven't solved that problem.
Hopefully they keep working towards it. But that's all I can say is if you're going to stay incorporated and you want your town, then I hope you want your town to be good and I hope you're a part of it.
In closing, this is all I'm going to say. If people end up on your board that you don't like or you don't agree with or didn't want on the board and you didn't vote, it's your fault. Look in the mirror because you didn't get involved and didn't vote. Can't complain if you don't vote. That's all I'm saying. I don't care who you pick. But you can't complain if you don't vote. So go get informed in your areas. That's across the country, in your little towns. Get involved in your local government. It's actually more important than the president.
It is.
Anyway,
All right. Well, you got anything else you want to say about Otter Creek in general or?
nope. I wish them the best.
Yep. Praying for them to keep getting better.
Yep.
So
Can only go up from here.
that's right. So everybody take care of each other and get informed. Get out there and vote. Go online, check the dates, be informed, and
Cast your vote.
yep, and just be part of making this whole world a better place to live in.
And believe me, one vote can make a difference in Otter Creek.
That's all I got.
You've got like 70 people voting.
Much love. Take care of each other.
Peace out.
Bye.